All right, guys. So today we're going to take a look at a very high-end pair of true wireless earbuds that it's from a company that's used to making like high-end IEMs. And I mean, we're talking about IEMs that come in retailing at like $8,500. That's as high as they go. But they kind of fluctuate around that price tag. But we have seen this kind of theme lately where a lot of higher-end IEM companies are kind of getting into true wireless earbuds to enter a market that's pretty flooded right now, but we've seen some impressive ones come from those companies. So the pair that we're going to check out today is the Unique Melody UXUE. I don't think it's pronounced U-XUE. I think it's UXUE. And this is a new pair of true wireless earbuds that has some pretty impressive specs. I definitely think that they're going for that, trying to give you that IEM experience, but in a pair of true wireless earbuds. So if you are somebody that likes to focus on features and features alone, like that's your main priority, that's honestly not what this pair is going to be. But this is definitely going to be one that focuses a lot on sound. Now it does come in at $349, so that is a lot cheaper than their IEMs, but it automatically kind of puts it in the running or comparison to the higher end earbuds like from Sony and Bose, Sennheiser, and a lot of companies like that. So we're going to see how well Unique Melody did with their first pair of true wireless earbuds and kind of see what makes this pair stand out. Now, from a look and a design standpoint, the case has this matte finish that picks up a lot of fingerprints. I'm not a huge fan of the design of the case. It's kind of large. It's not like overly large, but it's bigger compared to some of the other ones. Again, I just don't like that it picks up all of these fingerprints. And then once you open it up, you can see that the earbuds have that same matte finish. So do expect to have fingerprints on both the case and the earbuds. But the one thing I do want to point out, at least from a design standpoint, if you look at these earbuds in comparison to Unique Melody's IEMs, the earbuds are kind of bland looking because the IEMs actually have these really intricate designs. There's a lot of detail, and I think it just gives those a lot of character, where I feel like the earbuds don't really have a lot of character. There is this like gold trim around the outside part. Again, it just looks like a pair of earbuds and nothing really special other than that. But the thing that makes the UXUEs stand out is the triple driver system that it's using, because it is using a 10mm carbon nanotube dynamic driver. It does have a balanced armature driver, and then it has a piezoelectric bone conduction driver. So that is a pretty interesting setup. It is a setup that they have used in their IEMs. And again, this is because they're trying to give you that IEM experience in a pair of earbuds. And then another thing that they're doing to try to give you that is you also have two different types of amplification. So you have Class D, which in my opinion is really just a standard digital amplifier that you find in pretty much any earbud. And then they also have Class AB amplification, which stands for analog balance. This is how you're getting that more hi-fi sound. It doesn't sound as compressed or as digital. The balance is really what's keeping these from having distortion, and it just again has more characteristics of an IEM. It is using Bluetooth 5.2, so that is definitely not the latest Bluetooth technology, but it is using a Qualcomm chip that supports aptX adaptive and aptX lossless, so you are getting higher end Bluetooth codecs here, which that is a huge plus. There's also a gaming mode if you're going to use these for gaming or watching movies. This kind of helps cut down any kind of lag. And then it also has smart sensors. So if you do take them out of your ears, it will just automatically pause, and then it'll go back to what you're listening to whenever you put them back in your ears. So that is also nice, because I have seen a lot of the higher end companies that are doing true wireless earbuds, they're not actually putting smart sensors on there. So it's nice to see that Unique Melody added that to these. It does work with Unique Melody's app, which is kind of just a standard app. There's not really anything special to it. And I will say this though, if you want to update the earbuds, or if you want to update, I had to do some updates for the Class AB amplification. You actually have to download it from their site and then go through the updates and add that file to be able to update it. So it's not as smooth as a lot of the other true wireless earbuds companies. But in the app, there are some different EQ settings that you can switch between. You can also go in and customize the EQ settings the way that you want. And then you can see when you adjust the different parameters in the EQ, how it actually adjusts from actually seeing it on a chart. But another thing, and another interesting thing about these, is there are different listening modes that you can switch between within the app as well. Now they have a hi-fi mode, which is Again, that's kind of the way that I left it in most of the time. But this pair does not have noise canceling, but surprisingly, it still has an ambient mode. So if you do want to use them in environments where you still want to hear things around you, it's nice to have that ambient mode to be able to be aware of your surroundings. But on top of that, it also has an active listening mode. And this is actually picking up sounds around you that are very subtle, and it actually is focusing in on people talking. So I don't want to say it's like a hearing aid, but it's essentially trying to do what a hearing aid does. And so it is focusing on people talking, it's amplifying that. It's making it easier to hear those kind of things, especially if you're, again, in a pretty busy environment. And if you are going to use these outdoors, it does come in with an IP55 rating, which means on top of having some pretty decent water protection, there's also some pretty decent dust protection as well. So this kind of gives you peace of mind if you're going to use them, out at the beach or on a job site, or if it starts to rain, or if you're sweating heavily, it's not going to be something that's going to damage your earbuds. Just don't submerge this pair into water. And then as far as what they've included in the box, you do get these pretty thick, like liquid silicone ear tips. And there's actually two different styles of these. They have ones that do not have vents to them, and then they have ones that do have vents. So it kind of airs out the sound a little bit more. I noticed that I like the ones that don't have the vents on them, but the liquid silicone does take some getting used to. If you're used to like the cheaper silicone ear tips, the liquid silicones seem to just grip to your skin a little bit more. Now that's a good thing because it keeps the earbuds from moving around, but once you get used to them, it's really nice. And again, you don't have to worry about them moving around, especially if you're going to use them at the gym or something like that. And then the only other thing they include inside the box is a USB-A to USB-C cable, and you will have to use this cable to charge these because the case is not a UXUE wireless charging case. And then speaking of the charging, this is going to be where a lot of people just get disappointed because battery life on this pair is not good at all, and it is actually different depending on which amplification you use. So if you just use the Class D amplification, which is just the normal way that it is out of the box, you are only going to get 6 hours on the earbuds and only 18 hours total with using the case. But if you're going to use the Class AB amplification, you lose a little bit of battery life because it then goes down to only 5 hours on the earbuds and about 15 hours total using the case. So you kind of look at it like this: whatever battery life you have on the earbuds, you're getting 2 additional charges out of the case. There's no fast charging that I've seen either, so it does take about an hour to fully charge these. And that in itself is inconvenient sometimes because I don't always make sure that my earbuds are charged. So it's nice to know sometimes with other earbuds, I have a fast charge, and that is not, as far as from what I can tell, available on this pair. Now, if you are going to use these earbuds for taking phone calls, they actually do a pretty good job here because they are using directional mics to kind of hone in on your voice. And then they are also using AI to try to block out your surroundings, including even wind noise if you're in an outdoor environment and it happens to be a windy day. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a quick test here. So here is a quick mic test using the Unique Melody UXUEs. It is definitely a lot of noise off to the side with traffic. I could hear birds, I can hear wind. So this will definitely give you a good idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound. And this is where I honestly feel like this is a pair of true wireless earbuds that actually teeters on that line of trying to give you a higher end IEM experience. This is not one of those dynamically tuned earbuds that's trying to go for like that consumer grade sound because it is not bumped up in the low end. It's not one of those that's overly aggressive to kind of give you that subwoofer type feel. And I don't care what you do within the EQ settings, this pair is just not going to offer that. Now the bass I still feel like is pretty punchy. It's just fast. It's trying to hit and then it's trying to move on. And there's also a good amount of space in these, so it never feels like, you're very closed in. Everything kind of feels very well separated. The bass, although it can hit and be very punchy, it still allows everything else room to breathe. And again, I think that goes back to the triple driver system that they're using. Everything has really good space to it. There's a lot of detail when it comes to the mids and the treble though. So vocalists definitely stand out. Vocalists always kind of felt like they were a good, foot or two in front of all the instruments. There's a lot of detail in all of the instruments. Everything feels really well separated. but it still has like a really smooth feel to it. Now, I don't mean like warm or anything like that. Everything just transitions extremely well. Nothing sounds artificial, and it does kind of give you the feel that you are wired into an amp and not necessarily relying on a Bluetooth or wireless connection, where sometimes things can feel a little bit more compressed. I didn't get that feeling with this pair. I really have enjoyed the AB amplification. I think that's giving you the closest to IEM experience. And so I do honestly feel like this is a pair that's aimed towards audiophiles, or aimed towards people that like a lot of details, and not necessarily those that just want, an overly aggressive bass, overly punchy. It does, again, I don't want to take away from the fact that the bass does hit on this pair. It is just not as sloppy or as loose as it is in more of the other consumer grade true wireless earbuds. So to kind of wrap this video up, my overall opinion is, again, if you are looking for features, this pair is not going to deliver on that aspect. It's just not something that it does. It does not have Qi wireless charging. It doesn't have noise canceling. The battery life is just not good on this pair at all. But if you're just truly looking for sound and sound alone, and if you listen in smaller listening sessions, I mean, honestly, 6 or 5 to 6 hours with a pair of true wireless earbuds, it's kind of rare that I even leave my earbuds in my ears for that long. But for those, I understand there's a lot that do, or a lot that like to try to keep their earbuds in all day while they're at work, and you're not going to be able to do that with this pair. But for the time that you do have these in your ears, this is some of the best sound that you're going to get on a pair of true wireless earbuds. But guys, that wraps up my video on the Unique Melody UXUEs. If you are interested in checking these out, I will have these linked in the description. But thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.